Okay, in the last After Effects lesson on the hologram project, we added our graphic and our text, and in this one we're going to add the circles to our screen and down here to our base. So let's go ahead and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new composition. So composition, new composition, and I'm going to keep a dark gray so I can kind of keep my graphics white. The color doesn't matter that much though because it's not going to be seen. Let's call this one circles, and let's do OK. And because of my anchor point, I'm going to go ahead and instead of using this feature, I'm going to go under Layer, New, Shape Layer, in which we see it down here. Unfortunately, it's not showing up here for some reason. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to add an ellipse. Okay, and we don't see it, so I'm going to open up the ellipse and let's add a stroke. Open up the stroke and the stroke width, let's change it to, let's make it a little bit larger. I'm going to go back into my size under my ellipse path up here a little bit, and I'm going to make that a little bit larger. And now I'm going to make go back down here again to my stroke width, make that a little bit larger also. Kind of going back and forth between the size. Trying to go back and forth between these two to kind of get the size the way I want it. Kind of want it to be a little bit large, a larger circle, and thicker, which is the stroke width, making it stroke thicker. Just a little bit larger. Okay, you don't have to mess with it that much. Dashes, and none of this has to be perfect. You can kind of just mess around and get all sorts of cool effects with this one. We are going to add a dash. That'll be next. So let's go ahead and hit the plus sign on the dashes, and underneath it, under the dashes, in you can open that up, and then it shows 10. 0 is solid, and the higher it gets, the less amount of segments it creates. I kind of like this iris looking, eyeball looking thing. So I got 46 there. And okay, that's a good start. Now I want it to move. So in order to get it to move, I'm going to go in my transform. And I'm going to go into rotation. For Max, it's Option and then click on the stopwatch. And for PCs, it would be Alt. So let's hit Option Alt stopwatch, and this will open this up right here. And I'm going to delete all of that. So it's already blue. So I just need to type wiggle parentheses. And then I'm going to go inside the parentheses, I'm going to do 0.5 comma 200. No capitals, no spaces anywhere, just wiggle parentheses 0.5 comma 200 and then your outer parentheses. And it has to be exact or it might not work. And that looks like it's working. I'm just scrolling it back a little bit. Okay. And so now we have our main one done. So we won't have to go back in and add our expression anymore to the rest of them because we're going to be duplicating it, and we'll just keep that same expression. I'm going to select my shape layer now, and I'm going to duplicate it. So edit, duplicate. And I'm only going to have to mess around with 3 different sizes, even though they're kind of hard to find. And that's going to be, we're going to change the size, the stroke width, and the dash. So let's go ahead and into our contents first and change our size. And that's in the ellipse path. And I want to make this one a little bit smaller. Now I'm going to go into my stroke and change the stroke width. Kind of like that. And now I'm going to change my dashes. Like that. Now maybe make that a little bit larger, go back up to my size. Make it a little bit bigger, because I kind of wanted it to kind of all blend together. Go back into my stroke width. That's okay. My dashes, I think, is where I want to mix, because I got that little line. Try to make it. The trick is to try to get what I'm trying to do is get these all even. And get rid of those little lines, extra lines. I didn't probably do that with the first one. So there's my first one, or my first two. So let's go back and duplicate it again. So I'm just going to do Command D, duplicate, open that up under contents, and we'll do size under the ellipse path. And as you can see, I'm kind of making it larger. I'm just clicking on the numbers and dragging to the right. Maybe make this a little bit larger. Maybe about there. So now I'm going to open up my stroke and change my stroke width. Maybe about there. Change my dashes. Make fewer, maybe about 4. So let me try to get those even. That looks good. I'm going to go back up to my size and make it a little bit smaller to kind of get it to fit. The only problem is that changes my strokes over here, so now I have to go back to my dashes. Sorry. Try to make it even. It's a little harder to do. I think that looks pretty close. Not exact, but it's pretty close. Do a quick check. See how that looks. I'm just doing a preview. That's looking pretty good so far. All right, now let's try another one. So I got 3. Usually looks good with about 5, I thought. So let me do another duplicate. I'm going to open that up. Go into my ellipse path and my size. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Okay, and then we want to do open up our stroke and do stroke width. Looks good. Although I want my size a little bit down a little to match. There we go. So let me go to my dashes. So if you do that many, it kind of makes it uneven. So 4. Maybe we'll do something like maybe there. And let's see if I have enough room for one more, maybe a thin one at the top. Try it again. So duplicate, open, change the size. There it's going out the top. Might have to change something there. And let's go to my stroke width, make it thinner. Okay, and then under my dashes, the dash, let's try to make that like 2 of them. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if that fits. Ooh, just barely. All right, now let's see if that works on the comp. We'll go back into our hologram. Well, you know what? I want my screen comp. That's where I want it to go. So I'm going to bring my circles in, drag it down here into my screen comp, and here it is showing up. And I don't know why all none of my points are showing up. I gotta go fix that. So I guess for now, since that's not showing up, I'm just gonna scale it. Just a little bit more. Good. Okay, now let's go back to our play it on our main comp and see how that's looking. Looking pretty good. Okay, now I'm gonna show you again how we connect things to the null again, because now I would probably change my circles again to do this, but just to show you quicker, I'm going to use that same circles that I used for the graphic in here. So the same circles, I'm going to drag it into my main main hologram composition here. So let's go ahead and drag it down in here. And it's really big. Let me give it a 3D effect. Let me go into my transform. Let me scale it down a little bit. And all right, I gave it a 3D. So let me change the X. I'm going to try to match this to about where that is, because I want it to look like she is holding it. So let me scale it a little bit. That looks pretty good. Try my X again, try to get that to match a little bit better. And if that changes, I can give it keyframe, so I could give that a keyframe here. You know what? Before I do that, let me, like I said, now I can actually parent this to my null. And that should keep it linked and move with the phone. So you see that? So now we can connect anything we want to that null layer. You kind of see I still want to move that circle just a little bit. So I'm just going to move it over here. And I didn't give any keyframes, I don't think, yet. Let me hit my U just to make sure. Nope. So now it should link okay. Well, except for that part right there. And then, therefore, I might want to give it some keyframes since it kind of gets out of whack. Yeah, see, it kind of gets a little out of whack here. So then I would go under my transform. Maybe give a key on the position, a keyframe on my X. Move it around a little bit, see if it looks good. And I can change it as I need to. Maybe change it a little bit over here. And there, I give myself a keyframe. And I better get going before my son wants to get in the door. So I'm going to end this lesson here. I'll see you on the next one.